Hey y'all, Crazy Train here, and I don't know about you guys, but I am still really enjoying Star Wars Battlefront. I think the game is fun, compelling, and interesting, but I will say that it still has quite a few flaws. And so with that in mind, I wanted to share the top 5 things that I think need to change in Star Wars Battlefront to make it an even better game than it already is. First up, the spawning in this game is atrocious. I know most of you have probably experienced this in some form or fashion, but you're in a game, you die, you spawn, and then you immediately die by somebody who's spawn camping. I don't know if I've ever seen a game, other than maybe a Call of Duty game, where spawn camping is more prevalent and easier to do. Now, I'm sure that EA and DICE are constantly working on fixing this, and I hope that they continue to do so, because this is one of those things that can seriously turn me off of this game in a night of gaming, where if I start to get spawn camped, I will jump out and go to another game. If it happens again in that new game, I'm done. I'm going to go play something else. I'm going to play Black Ops 3. I'm going to play Fallout 4. I'm going to go do something else because I get so frustrated I just don't want to play the game anymore. So if they can fix the spawns, I don't know if they need to add more spawn points or just fix the algorithm that decides how and when people get spawned. If they can fix that, that will correct a lot of issues that I know a lot of players have with this game. Next up is the crazy amount of explosive spam that happens in this game. Unlike other games where you only get 1 or 2 grenades unless you pick up some more, Star Wars Battlefront has a cooldown period for the grenades. So what ends up happening is you have a bunch of players who attach 2 grenades to their setups, and then they work together to constantly spam various points or areas with grenades, to the point that players can't get out of a section or can't move, or maybe they mix this with the spawn camping I talked about, and it's just a recipe for disaster. Something needs to change. So hopefully DICE and EA can figure out a way to reduce the amount of explosive spam, either by increasing the cooldown wait time or find a way to limit the number of grenades that people can have, something to keep this from happening. Because it gets really frustrating and it gets really old really quickly and can really kind of ruin a game for a lot of players. So I hope it's something that gets fixed soon. Next is the weapon customization and attachments. When Star Wars Battlefront first came out, I wasn't too bothered by the fact that you couldn't add any attachments to the guns and there was really no customization that could happen. But after playing for a few weeks, I've kind of gotten a little bored with the weapons as they are. And it's kind of frustrating because what I've come to find, as many of you probably have, is that all the guns are virtually the same. There's really not a whole lot of difference between the guns. It's just these ones are good for short range, these ones are good for long range. That's about the only difference that you get with these guns. Now, if EA and DICE were to introduce some kind of attachment or customization to these weapons that allowed you to really individualize them, then that would help people to have a better experience with the gun. It would also make for a much more interesting type of battle, right? Where you got Battlefield where you can do different scopes and different attachments which alter the way that the guns work. So you may have the same exact gun as everybody else on your team, but everybody's gun works, shoots, and feels different. I'd love to see them introduce something like that into Star Wars Battlefront with one of the expansions. Let us customize our weapons, please! Another thing I'd really like to see changed is more or better rewards for playing the objectives. So I will say that in Star Wars Battlefront, players generally play the objectives a lot more than in other games. Like Call of Duty, I feel like when it comes to objective gameplay, it's almost non-existent. Everybody cares more about their KD than they do about their win-loss ratio, unless it's in free-for-all. And in Star Wars Battlefront, I feel like most people tend to try and play the objective. They try and work together, and I really like that. But I worry that there's not enough reward for playing the objective, because you still get quite a few people who are running around trying to get a lot of kills, and that's the reward. They get a ton of points. The people who get a ton of kills are getting way more points than the people who are trying to play the objective strategically and effectively. And so I feel like if EA and DICE could introduce better or more or different rewards for going after those objectives, it would drive people to play the objectives more and make the games a lot more exciting, because ultimately Star Wars Battlefront is kind of an objective-based multiplayer game. Unless you're playing like the team deathmatch or blast as they call it, almost every other game mode is pretty much some kind of objective. And so help us, EA and DICE, be motivated to play the objective, or at least help the people who are out trying to just get a ton of kills, help them be more motivated, because then that helps us all win, and we really like that. So the final change that I would like to see in Star Wars Battlefront is customization of the hero abilities. As they stand now, I think that the heroes are a lot of fun to play with. They're really exciting because they're much better than all the other players. You can go absolutely ham with them, but I feel like Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker are kind of the ones that are always chosen because they're so good, right? Because they have the best abilities. And I feel like if players could customize those abilities a little bit more, they'd be more interested in playing with some of the other characters. I think it would also liven things up a little bit, right? Once I've played with Boba Fett a few times, I know exactly how I'm going to play as Boba Fett. I'd like it if there was some kind of customization, if I could change out one of his weapons, or if I could try out something else, then I'd be really excited to get Boba Fett again, because I'd be earning or unlocking or somehow getting these different abilities to use, and that would be a lot of fun. I would definitely want to keep playing the game more, keep going after those hero pickups, so that I could try these different abilities of these different characters. So that's it, guys. Those are the top 5 things that I would love to see change in Star Wars Battlefront to make it a better game than it already is. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with this list? Is there anything else that you would like to see changed? Is there anything that I've recommended that maybe you'd rather see stay the same? Let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and to share it with your friends. And be sure to check out some of my other content. Thanks so much, guys, and remember, you are awesome! Master difficulty. So those are going to be pretty tough, but I think that they are doable, and I think they're actually going to be pretty fun to try and complete. So I want to share with you guys my breakdown, which challenges I think are pretty easy and which ones are a little bit more difficult. And I'll keep you guys updated on my progress as I play through the game with which ones I may be focused on.